What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. So guys, the 4th anniversary is finally here, and as you can see, the developers have decided to do something really special this year, which is the introduction of a new meta unexpectedly, which is Demon Psyche, or Psyche Awakened as they called him here. Now, this was kind of annoying at first because Mizuchi has not gained his full, popularity yet. He hasn't been there for a long time, and I don't know, we expected for this meta to last longer. But anyway, still, Mizuchi is still usable, I would say, but however, I think Demon Psyche is the new meta, so it's highly recommended to go for him whatsoever. So anyway, they decided to put Demon Psyche and Mating Con, and they have released the events. I don't know, I'm super excited for the anniversary to appear, and probably it's gonna be, as they said, for Demon Psyche it's gonna be a limited draw, and probably for Mating Con it's gonna be something like Duolon in the Christmas event. Maybe we can get him for free, maybe we can exchange his fragments for cheap or something by completing tasks. But anyway, 2 fighters in one event, it's fine, since one of them most likely is gonna be for free. So yeah, now without further ado, today's character introduction will be for Demon Psyche. I'm gonna call him Demon Psyche because I'm used to this term instead of Psyche Awakened. So anyway, Demon Psyche is an API 15 tank, and as you can see, typical tank, he has a good anti-crit, a good block rate, and block power more or less. Now, the feature says Endless Resurrection and Captain's Aura. Now, the Endless Resurrection, because technically speaking, he can keep resurrecting. Of course, there are certain conditions for that, which we're gonna see in the skills. And Captain's Aura, because we are used to have a Captain's skill, but now, from now on, we will have something called Captain's Aura, which is much more powerful than the Captain's skill. Also with the feature, it says a flame, because of course he's a flame user, along with all those other fighters that uses flames, and the leaders, because he's a main antagonist, so like Orochi, Rugal, Genets, Chrysalid, Ignis, Omega Rugal, Mukai, Magaki, Psyche, and Clone Zero. Of course, he's a main antagonist in the game. So, starting with the fates first. The first fate, Leader of Distant Land, we need Demon Psyche, Psyche, Magaki, and Mukai, increasing attack plus 25%. 4-color Flame, we need Demon Psyche, Ash, Kyo, and Iori, increasing HP by 25%. And Captain of the Past, we need Demon Psyche, Mizuchi, Flame Kyo, and Instinct Iori, of course the cores, increasing HP by 25%. And here, if you can see guys, all 3 fates need API 15s, which is really challenging. Now, the middle one, because it only needs Ash, I think it can be accessible. The last one, if you were, let's say, up to date with all the metas in the game, you have been following up, you have used all the metas, starting with Instinct Iori meta, with Flame Kyo and Mizuchi, it should be accessible for you as well. The first one is a bit annoying because, like, okay, Magaki and Mukai are old API 15s, more or less we are able to farm their gems, their fragments sometimes, but yeah, not all of us have them, honestly. So yeah, the phases are gonna be challenging, but I think they can be accessible after a while. And of course, the weapon, the Undying Dark Flame, and he uses the Flame Badge and Superpower Taunt. Now, of course, being a core, a meta core, his fight soul will technically be a space soul. Okay, here they call it the Dark Flame Soul. It says gain 85 rage when each round starts, and gain a large amount of HP, by the beginning of each round. So a typical space soul. Now, starting with the skills, the passive first, the Dark Defense. If there is more than one fighter on own site, restore 10% HP to the fighter with the lowest HP percentage, and restore 100 rage to a fighter whose rage is not full. We've seen that before. Immune to debuff when deployed for the first round. And the small skill must be released, so small skill is guaranteed. And block or damage resistance effect can still be activated when critical hit is caused. This is something new, so it's always been either a block or a crit or a regular damage. Here it's something new, like he can still block a critical hit, so the damage will be attenuated for sure, and that's something really nice. Restore 100 rage to other allies when other allies release ultimate skills, and this can take effect twice per round at most. So when 2 allies releases their ultimates, he can gain up to 200 range in 1 round. And all the skills of Demon Psyche and Dark Flame ignore the immunity to debuff. Of course, we've seen this also. And Dark Flame cannot be dispelled, which is again a very annoying part. Now, enter the resurrection state whenever dies. So when he dies, he will enter the resurrected state. Well, he kneels down, and he just stands still. okay, in this position, being immune to debuff and cannot be selected as target during the enemy's run. So he's not technically dead, he's still in the battlefield, but he can't be targeted. Okay, now how is he gonna come back to the battle? So restore own HP by 5% each time the ally is making actions, and when his own HP is restored to 50% or more, the resurrection status will end and Psyche will resurrect. So what happens here is that whenever he dies, he will enter the state, the resurrection state, and whenever an ally does any move, like a regular attack, a skill, an ultimate, he will gain 5% HP, and once he reaches 50% HP, he will be back in the battlefield. Okay, so that's how he resurrects. Now, each time resurrection status ends, the amount of healing for the next resurrection state will be decreased by 100%. So technically, he won't be able to resurrect again, but each ally will be able to reduce the healing rate by 10%. So as long as you still have allies in the battlefield, whenever they can still do their actions, he can still regain HP, and again, whenever he reaches 50% HP, he will be back. But here, if you notice, they said decrease by 100%. So pretty much if he was the last one to stay in the battle, no allies left, so he won't be able to regain any HP, therefore he will be dead and the battle will end there. So if he's the last one to stay, he won't be able to resurrect after that. So you need more allies for him to resurrect again. Okay? And when the amount of healing rate is under the resurrection rate is decreased to 0, of course, if he can't heal anymore, then Psyche Awakened won't resurrect after death. Again, we've said that this takes place when he's the last one to be in the battlefield. If there's only Psyche and Demon Psyche, when deployed, it will resurrect once. So in tournaments, for example, they made it in a way that he can resurrect once and that's it. Just to make it balanced, because again, he doesn't have any allies in 1v1 battles. And when Psyche, Demon Psyche, is deployed, extra effects which are based on the type of fighters on own side will be added to Demon Psyche. Of course, each of the following effect can take effect once more, but they can only be stacked 3 times. So as Mizuchi's passive, you can stack up to 3 times of those buffs according to the types of allies that you have. So if you have a DPS, Psyche will increase his own anti-crit by 14%. Not for each ally. Here they mean like for each DPS ally you have in the team, it will be a 14% for him. If you have a tank, he will increase his own damage by 10%, and if you have a gank, increase own rage restoration speed by 10% for each ally and gain 100 extra rage. Again, the similar stuff as Mizuchi, if I remember correctly. Now here the Captain Aura, we have seen that the Captain skill is the regular Captain skill, the core skill that we have. Now here they have given it another name, which is the Captain Aura, because it has something different. So increase own damage and resistance rate, and other allies get 40% of this effect, of course. If there are at least 3 fighters on your own side when deployed, increase the small skill resistance and ultimate resistance on your own side by 30%, and increase resistance, crit, anti-crit of the fighters by own side by 15% for 2 rounds. What's nice here is that you only need 3 allies. You don't need a specific type, you don't need a specific fight soul. The passive works passively. You don't really need any requirements for your team. That's why he literally fits everywhere. Okay? You don't have restrictions when it comes to the fighters that you have to use with him. Now, the Captain Aura, here they made a small explanation to it. So it's an advanced effect of the Captain skill. Fighters resurrected and 8 fighters can get also the buff. So usually it's only for the ones in the battlefield, and it goes for 2 rounds and that's it. But here, if a fighter resurrects or an 8 comes to battle or everything, they will also gain the effect. So that's why it's like a stronger version of the Captain skill. Of course, but all the Captain skills of the allies and buff of the passive skill of Instinct, Iori, Flame Q, and Mizuchi that can grow with the level will lose effect. So here, of course, only Demon Psyche's passive will predominate, because again, it's the strongest one. So if you have one of those fighters, one of those other cores in your team, they will lose the passive. They won't have the passive activated, which makes sense because they can't stack. Of course, here at level 1, increase damage by 25% and 40%. So again, this goes for himself and can go super high, and the allies will get 40% of this value. Still a typical Captain skill, which is, of course, a must-have in every team. So now that was the passive. Before going to the passive, the skill, need to mention the lake element here. So in the lake element, In addition to everything what I've mentioned, he will permanently be immune to stun, silence, freeze, paralysis, taunt, and petrification. So he is immune to control, okay? Permanently immune to control, which is a very good feature. And whenever your own turn starts, extend the burn on all enemies for 1 round. So of course, you've seen that he can do this black flame, dark flame burning. Of course, whenever he hits an ally with the ultimate or something. So passively, he will be able to extend it to all allies. So all opponents. All opponents can be burned when it comes to that. Of course, extending the burning from his flames, not for if you have like K's flames or something else. And one last thing, which is for the Captain Aura, it also adds a crit and anti-crit rate. He will also boost the crit and anti-crit, and it's not only for 2 turns, but for 3 turns. And this is, I think, the first passive that works for 3 turns. Usually it's only for 2 turns, the Captain skill. So that's why, of course, Lake is a must-have, and it will be a great addition to him. Now, going to the minor skill, Dark Throw, attacks a single enemy, and there is a 40% chance to stun the target for 1 round and increase own damage, defense here they mean, by 50%, and ultimate resistance by 30%, and it cannot be dispelled. And there's a 40% chance to decrease the direct damage taken by 50%. So it's like a resist, or like a, attenuated damage, the resist we see from Cool or other versions before. Gain 80 rage if blocked or damage resistance effect is activated. It's like, additional rage whenever he blocks, like that Protector Soul, for example. Add Dark Flame to the target, the flame that we have been talking about, dealing burning damage that won't restore rage to the target, and decrease the damage and resistance rate by 15%, and it lasts for 2 rounds. Pretty much, that's what the minor skill can do. Again, the Thunder element, the 4th element, it adds to that he will gain 20% resistance for the first turn, only for the first turn, but it's 20% and it cannot be dispelled. So it will be a nice boost for the first turn. Gain 100 rage instead of 80 every time he blocks or resists. Again, another good way for him to gain more rage. And gain buffs depending on the souls of the allies. Again, like what we have seen in the passive. Also from the minor skill, he can gain buffs according to what allies you have. So we start, if you have a turtle soul in your team, if HP is less than 50%, he will recover 15% max HP, and it's activated once and lasts for 2 turns or until used. So it can be, you can make good use of it for 2 turns, okay? If you have a turtle soul in your team. If you have a snake soul in your team, drains 6% of the target's max HP. Something additional as well. If you have a tiger soul in your team, 25% to silence the target for 2 rounds. It's not really that important anymore. I mean, CCs are nice, but those are all types of CCs, so I think they can be cleared easily. But anyway, it's for 2 rounds. And if you have a bear soul, reduce the target's rage by 200. It will reduce the rage. So it's definitely a nice addition, and if it works better, of course, if you have more, a lot of fight souls, different fight souls in your team. So it's a nice addition eventually. Now, yeah, moving to the ultimate Desperation. Attacked a single enemy, increase own damage, resistance, and attack by 20%. Gain a layer of sepsis resistance. So again, a counter for Mizuchi. So you've seen how Mizuchi, he can do this sepsis effect, reducing the max HP. He is resistant to that. He will be resistant to this effect for 2 rounds, and dispel debuff and petrification status of an ally. Again, as Mizuchi's ultimate. The ally controlled first, of course, takes priority, and increase the amount of healing received under the resurrection status by 5%. So again, remember the resurrection status where he needs to gain up to 50% HP so that he can get back again. So he will be able to heal faster. If he made an ultimate before, he will be gaining HP faster. The rate will be increased by 5%. So he will be resurrecting faster. And add Dark Flame effect to the target. Gain 5% extra ultimate damage for each enemy affected by the Dark Flame. Ultimately, if you are affecting all targets, he will take like 30% ultimate damage for 1 round, and this attack deals extra damage that is equal to 4% of the target's max HP. Burning, typical burning that we've seen before. Restore own HP that is 40% of the total damage dealt by this skill. Again, he can heal, so according to the damage that he can make. And after the weapon awakens, the effect will be improved in all-round way. Block or damage resistance effect will be activated when a critical hit is caused to the fighters on own side. I'm going to talk about the weapon in more details, but yeah, this part where he can block a critical hit, it can still take effect for all allies, not only for him. So again, that's why the weapon is pretty much critical. Now, just to talk about the weapon a little bit, not much to say, but the dark flame effect will be also will affect also one random enemy. So of course, because he will hit one enemy, so in this case he will also, the flame will be randomly taken or given by another enemy randomly. And for 2 turns your team will be able to block or resist critical attacks. Again, I can imagine it's a really good thing, because critical hits can be really deadly. So if they can still block or resist this, then yeah, that's a lot of resistance that can be made out of it. So weapon, apparently it's very important if you can go for it as well. And now the thrilling side, or the thrilling part, which is the water element, the smacks. So here he attacks not only one opponent with his smacks, he will attack 3 random opponents, so you can imagine it can make much more damage. Priority of course goes to those which are not affected by the dark flame, so he will target those which do not have the dark flame before, so that in this way they will also have the dark flame now. If he's at the front row, he will gain 35% damage. That's one reason why I would prefer him in the front row. Of course I'm going to be talking about that after the skills. More healing for the ally with lowest HP, because he can heal the ally with lowest HP. The value will increase, if I'm not mistaken, from 30% to 60%. So he can be really reliable on healing the ally with the lowest HP. And here, less opponents hit, the more healing he does. If you have less opponents to target, then he will be healing more. And the overflow amount will be stored and released gradually when damage is dealt. So imagine this, you've healed to the max, so you can have more healing left. He can actually store those healing, I don't know how, but he can store this additional healing and then give them back again when damage is dealt. So it's like a stored healing effect, which is, I think it's really nice. I don't know how efficient it will be, but it's something new. In addition to that, finally for the smacks, drain 300 rage from the target and give 100 rage to 2 allies. Again, the rage manipulation, he will be able to give 100 rage to 2 allies, and the priority here goes to the back row fighters. So if you have back row fighters, they will be the ones who will take this 100 rage. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much his water element and pretty much his skills. Now, here is the hard part, to be honest, because his gate partners, according to the Taiwanese version, are Ash, Magaki, and Mukai. I know this sounds crazy, but it's because those are 3 API 15s, and as gate partners we all know how struggling API 15s can be, and we've never, if I remember correctly, we never had API 15s as gate partners. So here it's I don't know, it raises concern, because I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna be the case for the global version as well. But at this stage I would say, okay, those are 3 API 15s, but they are old API 15s, and the developers have made them in a way farmable, so that we can get them, at least obtain them for free, and then we can work on them to unlock the smacks. Now here the smacks itself is the hard part, because you know, for the gate partners we need to get them to 5 stars and unlock the lake element, and which is really challenging. So if you are lucky enough to have those 3 fighters and actually use them at some point of your life, then you're good to go. You can actually, I don't think you will find it troublesome to unlock his smacks. But for others, including myself, for example, I still don't have Mukai, for example. So imagine having to get Mukai, having to get him to 5 stars and unlocking the lake element. Here I'm really hoping they will do something about that. I don't know, changing the gate partners, or at least making those gate partners accessible in the game. I don't know, adding them in the bar so that we can get them for free. Not for free, but I mean at least being able to get their frags without investing a lot of power frags in that. So the smacks is worth it eventually, but it's gonna be troublesome. So I don't know how hard it will be for the general population of players. But yeah, just wanted to mention them, at least for now, hoping that they are not confirmed, so they might be different. But anyway, now the question is Demon Psyche a good fighter or not? I mean, I can't really ask this question now, but it's obvious that he is a beast. He is a demon. He is the best fighter that we will have for now, for a long time. He is still a core in the Chinese version, and you know how advanced the Chinese version and the other versions are compared to global. That's why it was weird to get him this early, because it's OP to have him now. So definitely he's a must-have for everybody. Make sure to save diamonds, make sure to get him in the event. If you can't get him now, okay, you can get him in the redraw, but yeah, he's not a skippable fighter. He's a must-have for everybody. You've seen how the passive works, that literally in any team. You don't have specific requirements for him to work, so make sure you get him. My other concern regarding Mizuchi, like some people are saying, yeah, Mizuchi is dead by now. No, actually, he's not dead. Because Mizuchi, with the smacks especially, is still a very threatening fighter, and he's still really good because yeah, he didn't have this much of a lifespan, so you can still use him in the team. Okay, the passive won't work anymore because Demon Psyche's passive will predominate, but Mizuchi as a fighter is still worth putting in the team for many months actually. So you don't have to take Mizuchi out. If you have a weaker fighter, then that's fine. Even if the passive won't work, he can still be dependable. So that's what I wanted to add about Mizuchi. Again, must have, and where to put him, front or back. I don't know, something tells me it's better in the front row because he's a tank. You've seen he gets this nice buff, you know, for being in the front row. Another thing which I wanted to touch about, which is that he needs allies to be able to resurrect. So even if he dies first, you need allies. So if you have allies left in your team, you will be able to make him resurrect. However, if you put him in the back row, most likely your front row will be dead, or you will have less allies left to help him resurrect. So that's why it's fine to put him in the front row. And yeah, that's where I personally think he belongs. Although I've seen in many videos that they put him in the back row, but I don't know, still questionable when it comes to that. So yeah, pretty much this is it regarding Demon Psyche skills. Now just wanted to add two more parts, which are the runes and the 5th fight soul. For the runes, I would highly recommend two runes, which are in priority, I can say Protector Soul, because he added something new, which is that the ability to block a critical hit. So, and you know, the Protector Soul will add additional block, and he has a good block rate. So I don't know, Protector Soul can be really good on him and can be really efficient, more than other fighters actually. This can be a really solid option. And the other one, of course, will be Heart of Thorns, typical for a tank. Again, you can also add our Earth's Heart, you know, the typical 3 defensive rune sets, but I just wanted to shed the light on Protector. It might be a good option. One of those 3 is fine, but yeah, just wanted to add that. And finally, his the 5th fight soul that he uses, I would recommend 2, which are Unyielding, typical Unyielding, you know the reasons, it's good for tanks, and the Devil fight soul, again, being those 2 are being the best ones for tanks. So either one of those should be great on Demon Psyche. Actually, the Kusanagi Flame, now that I recall that he's a flame user, so actually the Kusanagi Flame can be also a good option to use because he's not from the Kusanagi clan, so yeah, he can also make good use of this fight soul, I guess. So one of those 3 should be fine. So yeah guys, that was it regarding Demon Psyche's character introduction. I hope you enjoyed it. I know how much confusion it might raise, especially for the gate part, the gate partners part, but I guess we have to wait and see how it goes. Regarding Maitenkan, which is the 2nd fighter, I'm gonna try to do the introduction as soon as possible. But yeah, just wanted to do Demon Psyche first because it's a priority, you know all why. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace out.